The Crohn's disease TikToker, the big bad man, just made a video about me, and I want to address some of the things said in that video because I don't believe they were fair. So he has a bag, and he says he keeps going into flares and losing weight. He got the surgery, and he's still having issues. Doesn't sound like a good solution to me. I don't have issues, and I didn't get the surgery. But when I first started learning about Dr. Hammer's work and how he would have treated somebody with Crohn's and colitis, I didn't believe it either. I got angry and mad at the person who was telling me about it and be like, this is ridiculous. But when I started to do it, like I was literally a stick for most of my life. I weighed 150 pounds. No girl wanted anything to do with me because I was just so skinny. And about a month or two into it, I gained like 20 pounds. And then after a year, I weigh 200 pounds, and I haven't. It's been very steady. I eat whatever I want, and all my symptoms went away. And this is years after taking drugs. That didn't do anything for me. I tried all the holistic remedies. I tried acupuncture, hyperbolic. I've spent so much money just trying everything: probiotics, supplements, this diet, that diet, and it's worked for many other people who are on the verge of getting a bag. And here are some examples just to show you that I know what I'm talking about.
It was a mountain of blood. The whole colon. It wasn't just ulcerative colitis. It was pancolitis, so it means not a single part of my intestine wasn't covered in ulcer. If this flare does not stop, they were begging me to cut out my colon. Literally, they were
Yeah,
saying, "It's okay."
yeah.
I've made colonoscopy. I had my colonoscopy a month ago, and the colon is clear.
So the first thing that he said is IBD isn't real. I never said that. I said IBD starts with a traumatic event. And this was common knowledge in the 1970s. If you would have read the WebMD or the Mayo Clinic dictionary, it would say Crohn's and colitis is a psychosomatic disease. It starts after a traumatic event. And most of those people are not consciously aware of that event. It's buried in their subconscious. And that is common knowledge in the psychiatric community that most patients don't remember the traumatic event that started their psychosis. Common knowledge. So in most of my videos, I'm referencing the work of Dr. Hammer. He could look in your brain CT scan and know exactly what gut issues or what disease you had because it was controlled from a certain part of the brain. And so things like Crohn's and colitis are controlled from the brain stem. So he would look in this part of the brain CT scan. So what you're looking at right here is a map of the brain stem. And if somebody had Crohn's or colitis, there would be rings in a very specific location that's labeled up there. I make a ton of videos about these, but you can go look this up on any German New Medicine website. And I looked at my brain CT scan, and sure enough, I was diagnosed with Crohn's and colitis, and I had rings right where they were supposed to be. My traumatic events were a little bit harder to track down because they happened in childhood. And my traumatic event is pretty ridiculous. It's like my parents like taking away Nintendo and forcing me to go to school. That was traumatic for me because I hated school so much and I loved video games so much, as dumb as that sounds. But my biggest flares were always after a breakup in high school and in college and in adult life. And for the vast majority of you, your gut issues started a few years ago after a death of a family member, after a fight with a landlord, after a breakup with a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or around having a really bad, nasty job. So what Dr. Hammer discovered is, and we see this in our language, is, in all languages, not just English, is, oh, I can't digest that person. Let's say there's like this, partner you really want. Oh, they're so hot and they're so nice. Oh, I want to digest them, but they don't want me back. I want to digest this person, but I can't. Oh, I'll help you digest them, says the subconscious mind. And that's when the gut starts to develop extra gut cells. You don't get symptoms then. What happens is when you finally get over that breakup or you find a new boyfriend, girlfriend, and then the brain says, we don't need these extra high maintenance gut cells anymore. Dr. Harmer tested them and they digested food 10 times faster, and then it gets rid of them. And that's the bloody, mucusy part, not fun part. Pain, the fever, the brain relay is healing as well. And this turns into Crohn's or colitis when someone is subconsciously haunted by that conflict. Let's say they get into another relationship and like kind of like the same stress themes occur. So another thing he's saying is that you have to resist all. What I'm saying is that you have to resist all stress and be the Dalai Lama and go live on Mount Fuji and pray all day in order to not feel stress. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying, I'm not saying stress causes gut disease. I'm saying your Crohn's or colitis originated from a conflict shock, a stressful event that caught you off guard, left you feeling isolated, and you couldn't consciously deal with it. So your subconscious mind put an organ into overdrive to help you deal with the conflict. A lot of you are going to be saying like, oh, no, stress didn't happen. That's what all the doctors used to say in the 1950s, 60s, before 1970s. All the doctors used to say, yeah, usually the patients won't fess up to that something stressful happened to them. But you go talk to their family and they're like, yeah, they just went through a breakup. Yeah, they just got fired. But they never admit to it. And I was the same way. I was frustrated and angry all the time. But if you were to ask me if I was stressed out, I'd be like, no, I'm fine. You kind of see it in movies a lot where the main character has like panic attacks. They just like shut down randomly and then they do this flashback of this stressful thing that happened to them when they were a kid. And the way that they present it, you're almost like, oh, wow, he's having PTSD to this event. In our case, we get diarrhea or something like that or whatever, or gut pain. Another thing is, so he was giving me a hard time about asking people for money for my course. Look, so there are courses out there that are $3,000 that are going to do nothing but, you pay them $3,000 and then they're not even going to address the root cause of the problem. They're going to put you on boring diets where it's your birthday and you're not even allowed to have birthday cake or pizza. They put you on these boring, bland diets that are very expensive, very time consuming to go buy the foods and to go cook the foods. They're just going to create more fear around food for you. And it costs you $3,000 to get that crap advice. The free information that I'm sharing with you just in this video will save you thousands of dollars. Thousands. The video where I explain what my program is, what my 13-day protocol is, what I did to get better, and what I have people do to get better, just the video that explains what it is better than most holistic gut healing protocols that will cost you thousands of dollars. And then on the day you sign up, they have you buying $1,000 worth of supplements. If you are trying to heal your gut the natural way, or even the modern medicine way, if you are not addressing the traumatic root cause, you're not going to get anywhere. Some people are lucky. They go on the drugs and they just naturally resolve their conflict and move on with their life. But then there's people like you and me where it happens to us and it gets stuck. It's not fair. It just happens. It gets stuck in our subconscious and it just grinds and grinds and grinds and grinds away at our intestines. And most people would not have to get the bag if GI doctors could do their job. And, the first time you come in with symptoms, they go, oh, okay, it's caused by, a traumatic event. Let's get to work on this and sort this out. Instead of telling you for 5 years, oh, I don't know what's wrong. Let's try this drug. Let's try that drug. And then 10 years later, your gut's a mess. And they go, okay, all right, we got to do surgery now. I've tried everything. Where in reality, they've literally have tried nothing. I don't know how a GI doctor can cut out 1,000 colons and not ask the question, what is the root cause? It just blows my mind. That's insanity to me. I almost strangled my GI doctor when he gave me the diagnosis of Crohn's and colitis, and he didn't have anything helpful to tell me except for, I'm going to put you on drugs for the rest of your life. They're very expensive. You might get side effects, and You might have to get surgery, and I'm too lazy to look for the root cause. That's unacceptable. Hey, I have high unrealistic standards, but guess what? That's what they are. And you should have them too. It makes no sense to roll over and accept that ridiculous prognosis. You're not an expert if you don't know the root cause, and if you're not at least looking for it. That's incompetence. So that's what I did to get better. I want the best for everybody. There are times where people do need to get the surgery, but if it gets addressed early on in your first flare, most people don't need it because their gut hasn't been ravaged for 10 years. It's just simple logic.